But all right. So from the college football to the NFL, you're also a huge Patriots fan, one of the biggest Patriots fans I know. And Pat's going through a tough time for the first time, probably in like a lot of fans' lives. They had such a dominant 20-year run, and now things are going bad, but they might be on the up because they're bringing back familiar face and Josh McDaniels. What is your like off the top reaction to hearing that Josh McDaniels is going to come back?
All aboard. I'm all aboard the train, the Josh McDaniels train. I think that we talk about tradition with Notre Dame. I do think that when we kind of cleared house last year, and turned castle, the keys to the kingdom, the castle, everyone's house over to Gerard Mayo. Very unfair for him. He was kind of set up completely to fail. I think that we kind of lost a bit of our identity, even though I think Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft are they're all about being the face of the franchise when things are going well, but it seems like they kind of just took a back seat this entire past year. And I think that we've lost our identity as a team. I am very, very happy to be bringing back two former Patriots, both a coach and a player. I think Vrabel immediately is probably in the second best coach in this division already. I do think I am not a big Sean McDermott fan, but he deserves credit now that the Bills are back in the AFC
He's
Championship
really
game.
good.
Um, I am not sold that in like 2 or 3 years that would be the same statement. I really do believe that Vrabel um, is a great guy. He should have got the job last year, for whatever that
Right.
whole dumb reason about how Kraft said that Gerard Mayo impressed him when they went and visited like Israel or Jerusalem or whatever it was, and like that
Yeah.
was like 7
Yeah.
years ago. It was dumb. They didn't go through the process. The Patriots have like it was a mess over there. And so I think bringing back two people that know this system, I think that they'll bring the best parts about Belichick. I don't think that it's going to be the situation like it was with what's his name when he went to Detroit, um, uh, uh, Mr. Pencil in the ear. I'm like, I'm gonna call him Brian again. I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna be that scenario where he like walks into the first thing he does with the team is put
Matt
all his
Patricia.
rings. Matt Patricia is put the rings on the podium like he did in front of his entire team, saying like, "Hey, I fucking earned these. What have you guys done?" It was just the most like it was the reverse. It's like you take the worst traits about Belichick, and I just don't think you're gonna get that with McDaniel's. I think McDaniel's, all in all, even though he seemingly is just not a great head coach, I do think that he is a very, very good offensive coordinator. The key is going to kind of be to not try to make Drake May Tom Brady. The key is going to be to shape
Yep.
the offense around Drake May's strengths. And I imagine with Vrabel and him, that's something that they talked about, and it was a mistake that they tried to do with Mac Jones. But even if you look at Mac Jones' rookie year, he had Josh McDaniels, and Mac Jones, that was the only good year of his career with the Patriots. So,
Pro Bowl.
um,
I pulled a stat in preparation of this. Patriots this year, 17 points a game. That year, the last year McDaniels was there, 27.2. Completely different team, completely different offense with him. And not for nothing, McDaniels completely revamped the offense for Cam Newton. And it was working really well until Cam Newton got COVID. And then, stuff started going poorly from there. So I think like he's a bad head coach, sure, but he's a great offensive coordinator.
he and that Cam Newton year too serves a lot of credit also because I'll always have that Cam Newton against the Seahawks. I think that was either
Yeah,
Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. I always have that
yeah,
game
yeah.
where he for like 310 yards. They lost, but like I was like, oh, maybe the Patriots are going to do something this year. Yeah, and there's a lot more to settle out to now. Like they're the DC they hired, the Detroit Lions defensive line coach. I believe he worked with Vrabel in Tennessee. There's a
Mhm.
connection there. Obviously, anything touching the Lions this year is a plus. Very unfortunate how their season ended, but and I feel like that Ben Johnson might be a little bit of a fraud. But
They scored 31 points. They had like
I
500 yards of offense.
I think that the Detroit Lions whole
He
like
didn't throw
defensive
those picks.
coaching stuff. Well, also, I'm pretty sure Goff had a concussion. And they kind of just like
Yeah,
threw him back there.
yeah,
So,
man. As someone who's seen a lot of concussions from my quarterback, it looked very familiar to when the Dolphins were playing the Packers a few years ago, winning in the first half. Tua probably gets a concussion and plays horribly the second half. It was very similar, so I think you're not far off base there.
and Terrell Williams, who they hired as a defense coordinator, he was with the Titans in Vrabel's final season.
Mhm,
So there's that connection there, and just I think now, Mayo was a first time head coach. Um, uh, Covington, their defensive coordinator, first time at DC, and then you had like their ninth choice in Alex Van Pelt for offense coordinator. Which of those three, I do think Van Pelt probably had the best year, but I think there's this coaching staff is bringing leadership, is bringing years in the league as coaches. Uh, I think that they're gonna get the most out of this squad that they have now, but a lot of this season pretends to it depends on what they do in the draft, what they do free agency. You know, big your Dolphins is a big kind of like the hypothetical floated out there as a Patriots trading for Tyreek Hill. Um, y- I
it'd be
am not the
it'd be
biggest.
tough just 'cause the cap hit would be really hard for the Dolphins, but maybe.
I'm I'm not the biggest fan of I'm not a fan of Tyreek Hill, but I
Mhm,
feel like Patriots are at a desperate stage right now where they need a playmaker to come in like him. And so I would give away a future first and pay him a new contract if that meant getting 2 or 3 good years out of him before
yeah.
it all fell apart. But my
I
preference is
do think
probably
if the Dolphins can get a first round pick, they might just take the cap hit because they gotta kind of evaluate and reposition a lot of stuff, you know?
definitely not trading this year's 4th overall. I wouldn't do that. That'd
Right.
be insane.
Yeah. That'd be
But a
insane,
future
yeah.
first, combination of second, sure. I my preference would be T. Higgins, just be for both of
Mhm,
like locker room kind of like Tyreek Hill. I don't like. There's a lot of baggage that comes with him, but I mean,
mhm,
I'm not saying T. Higgins is a more talented wide receiver than Tyreek Hill because he's not. But I think at that point you're not giving up a trade and you're paying a guy, and so
mhm,
the bonus is T. Higgins. I don't necessarily think T. Higgins wants to come to New England. I could be wrong. Um, I feel like if you have the chance to either stay with the Bengals or go to a competitor, and then New England's like that third choice, I think you're taking one of the two first choices. But
mhm,
I would be happy to get Hill, but and my draft preference would be Abdul Carter from Penn State. I watched him play against Notre Dame with one arm, and he was literally just he was drilling that line the whole game.
yeah.
So
He
that's my
had an
preference, Abdul
amazing
Carter.
game.
I'm not pro Travis Hunter. I just don't think that solves any of the Patriots issues because I don't think Travis Hunter's a number one receiver, and I think that I think he's going to be a pretty good corner. But they already have Christian Gonzalez, so that's just not a need for that team. They need a
Sure.
pass rush, they need O line, and they need receivers. So that's I think Vrabel knows what he's doing. I think Josh McDaniels is also another great eye for offense, and I think that combination is going to whether it's this year or in 2 years. I think if the Patriots don't at least increase their wins by 3 to 4 wins this year, I would be shocked just purely based off of coaching staff and the hypothetical improvement to the roster that you'll get.
Dolphins probably
So
getting worse this
uh,
offseason, like, it
Jets ain't
should
going
be.
anywhere.
Yeah,
I
Jets
I
probably not doing good either, yeah.
If the Patriots do everything right this offseason, they could be a wild card contention type team and this will be a big
Sure,
year for
yeah.
Drake May too. If this is year 2 is the big leap year for a lot of these elite quarterbacks,
Mhm.
and I think that's I think something feels different between him and Mac Jones, where I feel like
They're very different quarterbacks, yeah.
Drake May, like, I do think that he's a guy that is going to immediately improve. He has
Mhm.
to kind of work on some of his decision making with the ball, but you get him an elite wide receiver and a better O line. I think that this offense can surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think, like, Josh Allen was okay, then they got Stephon Diggs, and he was great, and now he's still
Mm.
great without Stephon Diggs, but it took having, like, a true number 1 wide receiver to kind of unlock the potential of Josh Allen, so I do love the T. Higgins, idea, like you said, don't know I think it'll be very tough for the Bengals to hold on to him just because of the cap room, but I don't know. Tyreek Hill, maybe. Like you said, he comes with a lot of baggage. One bad year with the Dolphins, and he's ready to leave town. Not ideal as a fan, but I think it should be interesting. I think this is a great move for the Patriots, and yeah, hopefully we'll have you back to talk more Patriots. Anything
I will be
else you want
back.
to touch on?
No, we'll be back. We'll talk draft because then draft we'll have a
Yes.
better idea of kind of have a better idea of who's staying in college, who's going.
Mhm. I'd
We'll
love to
have this.
do at least like a top 10 pick stream that night if you're
It'll be
open
fun.
to it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did it in the past. Very fun. I mean, I love the draft, dude. So like such a fun time, especially as a fan of a team who's been in the trenches in the draft. It's always very hopeful. So
And I think by
yeah.
that point too, I think the draft is like Notre Dame has their blue and gold game, which is their spring game of like a scrimmage against the team itself. I think it's
Mhm,
usually um late April, May. It's usually around that time.
mhm.
Yeah, around that time we'll have college football, kind of a better idea of what that off season will look like for a lot of these teams. So yeah,
Yeah.
spring that'll be a good time. It's
Awesome.
go Bills. As even as a Patriots fan, heavily rooting for the Bills. I think the Bills are a Patriot rival only on paper because they're in division. The
Mhm.
Bills were Tom Brady's bitch for 20 years. I think Brady had like a 35 and like 3
Yeah,
record
3.
against
That's
them.
definitely the losses.
They're kind of like the little brother to the Patriots. Buffalo, I feel like they just have a very similar kind of like gritty fan base. So
Mhm.
I am finding myself for sure rooting for Josh Allen, Bills going forward. Anybody but the Chiefs. I hate Philadelphia, so anybody but the Eagles too. So I
So,
guess I
the
guess I'm rooting
Commanders.
for a I guess I'm
Yeah,
rooting for a
yeah.
Commanders Bills Super Bowl.
It'd be fun. It'd be at least unique to, these are I don't know, it's tough for me with the Bills just because 'cause they've fucking kicked Miami's ass, like, every time.
Mhm,
It's similar to how Tom Brady terrorized the Bills, Josh Allen has terrorized the Dolphins. Not been
mhm.
super fun, but then again, pretty boring watching the Chiefs march to the end every season, so we'll see there. Anything you wanna plug before you get on out of here?
No, so listen, any Survivor or Traders fans, listen to our other podcast that Brian mentioned,
Mhm.
um, Blindsiders for Survivor, and what's our new name? Meet You at Breakfast.
Get you at
Meet you at the
breakfast, yeah.
Meet You at Breakfast for Traders. So definitely check out those out. Traders, very fun season so far.
So
I've
good.
really enjoyed watching it. Enjoyed talking about it. So check me out there, and I'm on DJ Clubberlang on Twitter and on Twitch.
Awesome. Yeah, that's Better Radio, where you can find all those podcasts, including Wicked Good Show as well. And, yeah, uh, thank you so much for your time, Dylan, and,
Go
transition back to
Irish.
Brian to close this out.